What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Trust the Profits YouTube page. This is Doubling Down. My name is Colin Sheehan, where each week we take a look at a daily double and put together a ticket for you to hopefully cash. But first, question of the day as we go through the holiday season and the end of the year. Simple. What are you most thankful for this year? Please answer in the comments. Please hit the like and subscribe button. It's so important. Let's get to the show. What is up, everybody? Welcome back. I am once again joined by my good friend Keith at Each and Every Stride on your Twitter. Keith, what's happening?
Hey, Colin, what's going on? Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Another great racing sequence that we have here, and looking forward to breaking it down with you, and hopefully cashing some tickets too.
We have a tough one. We are going to go to Fairgrounds for the race 10 and 11. That includes the Gun Runner on Monday, the day after Christmas. Not much racing this weekend. But Keith, what are you thankful for this year?
Oh, just obviously family and friends, and just everybody being supportive of each other. It's still some challenging times for a lot of people, but just everybody pulling together and making what's best, and being thankful for everybody's company. So I know it sounds a little corny, but I guess it's true. So what about you, Colin?
I'd probably go in the same boat. Very thankful for my family, my two boys, who bring me happiness every single day, and thankful for horse racing Twitter. You guys have all been very supportive of me as I stepped out into this world of putting my face on the camera, which is always scary at first. But I think a lot of you have been very welcoming to me, and I appreciate all the support that I've gotten. I've met some great friends who I think are going to be longtime friends now. Although we've only known them a few months, I can already tell in 20 years we're going to be arguing about who's going to win the Derby and the Belmont or the Clark Stakes or the Eclipse Award that year. So it's all good, and I appreciate that. But Keith, you have a tall task because I've stayed in the green through 20 episodes and the guests are just plummeting. We need you to save them. The guests haven't hit a ticket in a while, and whenever I need a guest to come through, I usually call on Keith because you have been the most consistent in finding some winners. I'm in the green $30. You're in the red $39. That's not all you, though. That's some of your friends there, mostly Trusty. I like to keep blaming Trusty, but let's get into it. We are going, cool. As I said, December 26th, Fairgrounds, race 11. They are going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. This is $100,000 stakes for 3-year-old and up. We have a field of 8 with 3 also entered. Here is a look at the field. Who do you like, Keith?
Yeah, it's a very competitive field, and I know it says non-graded stakes, but I mean, with this resume on a lot of these horses, you could make an argument even for like a grade 3. But it's just this double sequence here. I don't usually spread on doubles like this, but probably show my ticket soon. But I struggled with this race. I really went a few different directions, but I'll start with my number 1 choice here, which is number 3, Big Agenda. And that's actually a 12-1 morning line. So I have a few reasons why I like this horse. Now, I know it's coming out of, basically before the Churchill try on the dirt in the slop. I'm just going to kind of toss that race right there. It's, just something that really didn't want to do before all those turf races. And now gets back on the turf, and Saez stays aboard, and just really think that it could just sit close enough to have a perfect spot. Not too far back, but just kind of stalking and maybe like the second tier. And I love the 3 post here with this horse. And so I was saying may sit a nice trip there, and just going back to good form here. I'm hoping with this with these workouts, as I see in December 1st and then December 10th, and just nice, impressive 3rd out of 59. And then on the 10th, 2nd out of 41. And then just a nice 5 furlong there to kind of, keep the stamina going and keep Big Agenda fit. So, 12-1, you get Saez aboard again. And I know this is going to be a little bit of a price, but I think this is a nice sequence to go price hunting. So I like Big Agenda on top. But what about you, Colin?
Yeah, I have a big agenda on my ticket as well, and I agreed with you exactly on finding a price because this is competitive race. The three big agenda has been very popular in the claim box. This is the fourth time off the layoff, and he's earned $470,000 on the turf. I didn't have him on top, but when you said 12-1, that was also something I saw as someone that I want to have on my ticket. I was between the 7 and the 8. I ended up with the 8 on top for me, Spanish Kingdom. The last race was on the dirt at Fairgrounds and still ran well, but I think this horse prefers the turf. Doesn't really like to win. I don't know why I keep landing on these horses that don't like to win, but it's also racing against stronger company. And I think Spanish Kingdom is going to be forwardly placed, which is what was attractive to me as well. The last race on the dirt, since this race is on the turf, I tend to throw out. It was actually off the turf at Fairgrounds, running the slop. Didn't do too bad running second, but prior to that, had 3 races on the turf and put up Brisnet speed figures of 94, 95, and 96. This is a 5-year-old by Animal Kingdom. So Spanish Kingdom was who I had on top on my ticket, and I believe you included the 8 as well, correct?
Yeah, just a lot of the points you made, some great points there. And yeah, so a lot of these horses, I think some of these races were probably taken off of the turf and then they ended up running, it looks like in the slop at Fairgrounds, and then in the, it looks like just in the dirt there in Churchill for Running Ray. But basically, that's the 10 horse. But for the 3 also, I see, Big Agenda was also in the slop. So, that's another angle is that they just probably didn't even want to really take part in that slop in the dirt. So I'm hoping back to the turf, back to the preferred distance, and just really can really get some winners that way. But yeah, I really like Spanish Kingdom, like you touched on, and I'm going to include also number 5, Captivating Moon. I've actually recognized this horse from just watching Hawthorne and Fairgrounds through the years. So I've just noticed, and I do see it in the running lines. It's another horse that can just sit a nice trip and be really second tier, and just kind of does every single looks like every single racing line that I see actually closes. So just not really from the clouds though, but basically just from like mid pack, and just hopefully can really get in the money, or obviously win the race. There is I know you included number 7, English Tavern, and I decided I actually hold this horse pretty close to my heart, because earlier this year in Pimlico I had a decent win wager that English Tavern won, and it looks like, let's see what we got on that day. Yeah, that was 13.5-1. So that was a nice hit. Yeah, I really like this horse too, but I just didn't know about the setup with English Tavern, as far as recently been kind of becoming really from far back. And I know you have the Sean Parker jumps aboard, but I know you included the 7, but I had to, that would have been my next one in line if I, had a little bit of a bigger ticket, but I kind of wanted to keep it economical. So I left the 7 off of mine.
Yeah, I definitely include the 7. 7 was second up for me, trained by Michelle Lovell, who's hitting at 27% in these non-graded stakes. That number jumped off the page at me. Source is sired by English Channel. The average winning distance is 8.1, and you're correct. This horse is a closer. I love closers on the turf going longer. The one thing is that in this race, there isn't a ton of early speed. I know you're going to get some early speed from English Kingdom. I believe the 1 Temper Tantrum is probably going to show some early speed. Right. And then some of these also entered, like maybe the 10 has shown early speed in the past. If the 10 draws in, that'll be interesting. Probably set up better for English Tavern. I love it second off the layoff. And I just did not want this horse to beat me at 7-2, which I actually isn't that bad of a price either. The other long shot that I took, as you see our tickets there, I dropped them in for you, is the 2 Risk Manager. I think that this horse has been running in some competitive races. As we talked about, I want the prices in this race. This is a little bit more of a, if you're going to drop a horse, I wouldn't I wouldn't blame you for dropping this to Risk Manager, but when I wanted some prices, this one's 10-1. Corey Lannery's hitting at 20%. Last out, this horse was 6 wide. He needs to improve, but I think if he improves and maybe gets a better trip, obviously going out of the 2-hole will hopefully help with that. Last time ran 6th and was 6 wide, running 5th with Talamo up. I didn't want to leave the 2 Risk Manager off my ticket. You had actually shared Equine Edge with me, and the 2 Risk Manager was also the Scotty Long Shot, although they don't call it Scotty Long Shot anymore. It's just the Long Shot. And that's kind of what sealed the deal on adding the 2 for me. Once I saw that, I said, okay, I'll include Risk Manager. So I went with 2, 3, 7, 8 in this leg.
Yeah, I like it. I definitely looked at Risk Manager too, and you make a good point, and I do see a nice 1 out of 5 workout there on December 15th, and just another one that looks like you touched on. There's really not much speed in this race, so with these closers, I just didn't know how the setup would work, and I really was kind of, my angle was that there wasn't going to be a lot of speed, so I wanted horses that were going to be kind of sitting mid-pack and not really coming from way back. So who knows? It's kind of, they say pace makes the race. So really with that, I guess that's my angle with this one. And, challenging sequence to say the least.
For sure. When we used to do these shows together, me and you were pretty tight on our tickets. I think these are more on the expensive side than what we're used to.
Right.
And you included the 10 running Ray, I assume, for that purpose of the early speed. So we'll move on to race 12, which is the Gun Runner Stakes. You've been following me. I have my 2-year-old Derby prep show that I air on Mondays, and the next horse that I am really excited to see that I've had somewhat circled is the number 3 in this race, Determinedly, who's trained by Mark Casse. I have a little video here for you of Determinedly's last race. I also, on the past performances there, highlighted the 3 races that Determinedly ran on the turf. So when you look through those past performances, you see those 3 races on the turf. But check out the circle there in the last 2 races. 94 Brisnet speed figures. None of the horses in this race that you're seeing have run back, but that's a pretty impressive run there by Determinedly. Had 3 races over the turf, and then the second place finish after the turf was to Arabian Night, who's another horse that we're anticipating to run back out of the Bob Baffert barn. That was on Breeders' Cup Friday or Saturday, I believe. I think it was Saturday. And this Determinedly won easily next out, which was what we just saw. I like to play these horses till they bounce. So when I see 94 on the speed figures, another jump there, and this horse is going to blow them away. I thought about singling Determinedly here. I've been pretty good with horses on the Derby Trail where it's not a strength of mine. I'm not a tout. But so far, the horses I've kind of like, I can't wait to see that horse run back. That included Loggins, that included Giant Mischief, although Giant Mischief didn't win. I think the start obviously wasn't effective and that horse still ran big.
Right.
Communication Memo was another one that I had circled who came back and ran well. Determinedly is one that I'm pretty high on. So I didn't single. I was very close to, but Determinedly is my top pick in here.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Very impressive run there, and it's just something that I wanted to get some coverage still. Like you said, I know you were thinking about singling, and this is actually where I went a little deeper, like we touched on with my double, and I do have big agenda there on top. Let me go. Actually, that was the last race, so let me go to this race here. Actually, I have number 2, Jace's Road on top. That's actually the horse I'm going to pick on top. And I'll tell you why. This one is a Brad Cox trained horse here. Now, Brad Cox actually knows how to get these horses kind of fit back, even when they haven't run a lot recently. These works kind of caught my eye too, just kind of consistently since that run in October. Now, kind of got the month off of November, which, can be a good thing. Sometimes these horses just need a refreshing, and a 2-year-old too. Sometimes it just, you don't want to race them, obviously, too quick, too early. And, Flo stays aboard here, the jockey, flow. So I would say as this one, the last race, I read the comment line, dropped the rider loading and then faded. So it wasn't really Jace's Rhodes day that day. So I would say, and that was the slop too. So I kind of obviously put a line through that and went off as the favorite in that race too at, just about 2.5 to 1. So I would say I'm going to take a shot there. I like the 2 draw and, I know you touched on everything with Determinedly, but maybe I'll get a little bit more of a price. I know it's 3 to 1, but probably won't go off as favorite. So I'll put Jace's Road on top. Who else did you like in this race?
Yeah, I mean, to me, Determinedly was to have him co-favorite as the 1 and the 7 was interesting to me. I thought Determinedly would be the favorite easily. And don't forget, also on Monday, Corona Bolt, who won at 6 furlongs easily, is running in race 4. Another horse that I kind of had circled as I'm excited to see run back again. So it was Determinedly and Corona Bolt. I believe Corona Bolt was 8-5 favorite when I checked. And so to see Determinedly 7-2 was a little interesting. And the winner is number 7 is a horse that had run the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf coming back. This is the first race back. It's an angle I've talked about on Twitter that I always tend to just play against and fade the horse's first time back from Breeders' Cup Juvenile. I think they take more money than maybe they're worth. And this horse has also been running on the turf. So I did not include the 7. Because I'm so high on Determinedly, I wanted to make a decision between Hayes Strike and Jace's Road. I decided to go with a 1, Hayes Strike instead. If this horse can just get off to a good start, I think you'll see a much better run from this horse. The last 3 races have all been really rough starts, starting off 8th and 9th place, but finished 3rd and 2nd in the last 2 races. The last race was the Kentucky Jockey Club, which Instant Coffee and Curly Jack finished 1-2 ahead of Hayes Strike. Curly Jack's been a horse that's just been grinding out top performances. And I'd want to see more from Jace's Road before I decided to go that way. I feel like I have a better sense that Hayes Strike is better than Jace's Road. The question is, can this horse get off to a good start? Bejarano was up the last 2. You get Hernandez back aboard, who at least ran well in the Iroquois, or got the horse off to a good start in the Iroquois, and also in the maiden score at Ellis Park. So Hayes Strike was the other one that I used. I know you use the 4. I'll let you get to the 4 after I talk about the 6, Raise Can. So
cool.
Another just kind of intriguing horse for me. Again, I was really thinking about singling Determinedly. So now that I'm adding Raise Can, you're probably thinking, well, you love Determinedly, but you're adding in an 8-1 there. I was intrigued by the race 2 back. This horse re-rallied in that race, where that winner of that race, Super Chow, came back to win his next out. In the debut of Raise Can, you'll see Loggins, and if I see Loggins, I get all excited.
You run to the window, yeah.
So first race, Raise Can finished 8th to Loggins. Also 3rd in that race was Communication Memo, who just came back to win on December 16th. I'm hoping that this horse likes the further distance. Put up a 91 Brisnet speed figure at 7 furlongs. Sired by Violence, the average winning distance is 6.7, so it's a little light. But on the Dam Sire, you have Lemon Drop Kid with an average winning distance of 7.9. So I'm taking a little shot there with the 6 Raise Can. And I believe, if I remember correctly, when you sent me the Equine Edge, that was also the long shot, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So
no, you're right. That algorithm, you don't want to sometimes miss that. I mean, I would say, no, I see your point there, especially, bumped and, not really the greatest starts with Raise Can, but then really, comes on and kind of re-breaks, like you said. So always those horses are kind of interesting. Maybe they're just kind of learning how to run. These are 2-year-olds. So, definitely they could just pop right up and, Colebrook, Ben Colebrook knows how to, train these 2-year-olds also. So, I think, like I touched on, this is a sequence you can really, find some prices, I think. And, I was going to say also, definitely check the probables, before, even if you want to play our tickets. It's just something that we always do as horse players. obviously if this, I'm going to put in this ticket, but if it's going to pay maybe less than $16, I'll have to, make an adjustment on the fly. But you don't want to take a negative loss for a winning ticket. So we've all been there, but that's frustrating.
Guests on this show might be good for what they've been putting up.
That's funny.
You also like the 4 Old Alliance. That's the only one we haven't talked about. What'd you like about the 4?
So yeah, this horse kind of perked my interest a little bit here. Only 2 races, but this one really just kind of showed something where I think Old Alliance wants to go longer, and we're finally going to get that distance here. So kind of went 7 furlongs, and then 7 furlongs at Laurel, then 7 furlongs at Keelan. Now going 8.5. This is the son of Hard Spun, so I really think the distance might be its friend, and obviously doesn't need the lead, and really I think it can sit a nice trip. Also, I was saying comes back with some bullet works here too. Oh yeah, one work on December 7th, caught my eye. First out of 17, and has been at the fairgrounds training. So I like horses sometimes that kind of been on the grounds at these racetracks that they have the big races to anticipate, and sometimes they can run really well. I mean, obviously it's based on talent. Like, a horse can ship in a week before and be the best horse in the race. But I do like these horses that kind of been training there for a few weeks and get familiar with the surface. And yeah, I wanted to take a shot, and the Equine Edge, like this one too, Old Alliance. So that was actually, I looked at this horse even before that, so that kind of piqued my interest more. So that was a 10-1. I might get bet down a little bit. I would say maybe around 7-1. Maybe if we get something like that, I might place a win wager.
Yeah, I was interested to see that Equine Edge had that 4 on top on its top picks, so that has me a little worried. But we'll see. That's why we play the game, as they say.
That's
Good stuff. So I went 2, 3, 7, 8 in race 10 on Monday after Christmas at Fairgrounds, and I went 1, 3, 6 in the second leg. However, if you single determinedly, I may. We'll update on Twitter, both as you said with probables, and maybe if we get some scratches that may get those also entered into the first leg. That's certainly going to affect what we'll do. So we will keep you updated on our Twitters. Keith went 3, 5, 8, 10 with the 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our Twitter handles if you need to find us on Twitter. His ticket's $16. My ticket is $12. Keith, have a great weekend.
Appreciate it. Happy holidays, everybody. And thank you, Colin, for having me. And yeah, you got to love these, these 2-year-old races leading up to, obviously the Kentucky Derby and everything. So it's going to make it a fun few months of build up and really, get some interesting horses on the way. So looking forward to obviously seeing you on horse racing Twitter and everything. So everybody have a great time.
Yes, and I am trying to, and I also believe after the Gun Runner on Monday is the Untappable, which is a race for Oaks Points too. So we didn't stop there, but this is a daily double show, so we only try to bring you some in-depth on the 2. Have a great holiday. Merry Christmas, everybody. Catch us on Twitter for any updates. Talk to you next time.